Online student, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where we left the discussion yesterday? We were discussing types of state. Any doubt, any question you have? पीछे के फैंस ऑफ कर देना. हाँ, यहाँ से होंगे, यहाँ से आगे से देख ले आराम से. So any doubt, any question from what we discussed yesterday? Online student, any doubt? So you are clear how many legal juridical states we have? What makes a state a legal juridical? What makes a state a legal juridical state? The 5 elements with the international recognition. Okay, despite legal juridical, it is not mandatory, state becoming empirical also. Okay, so what makes states a actual empirical state? When there is rule of law. Okay, when there is when there are divisions of power. Okay, when rule of law and constitutionalism prevails, right? So only then state becomes what? Actual empirical from legal juridical. So I shared the PDF of the book. So tomorrow you can start reading. Okay, just read it. Do not try to cram anything. Any doubt on any line and any point, you can take the screenshot and you can ask your doubt on the group also, or next day you can ask your doubt in the class. So just read the book. Whatever doubt comes to your mind while reading a line, if you are not able to clear any point, any line which is written in the book, you can ask me in the class or on the group also. ठीक है ना? If you feel stuck, you can ask. ये वैभव बंद किया क्या? वैभव ये यहाँ से स्टूडेंट्स वाला वो चेंज किया क्या? अच्छा यहाँ पे ये जाना ना? Okay. So let's continue our discussion with the evolution of state. So state has evolved where? State evolved where? Arey. Evolution of state means state naturally evolved where? I said yesterday. In Europe. In Europe, we have seen the evolution of state naturally, organically. State has evolved. Okay. While in the third world countries, states are artificially demarcated by imperial colonial powers. ठीक है ना? So write evolution of state in Europe. Evolution of state in Europe. Okay, how states has evolved. So before we start what we are doing basically in the first few lectures, before we are jumping to the Western philosophers, we are understanding the basic idea about the evolution of state, how it evolved, the difference between nation and state, how the concept of nation evolved. It evolved in French Revolution, Treaty of Westphalia. So you are getting a bit aware. Now I'll tell you what was the situation which was prevailing ancient times. Because there is a very important line on which UPSC do ask a question in mains also. Every philosopher is a child of his time. What it means? That every person is a child of his time. Whatever your personality today, whatever personality you are today, you have a clear impact and imprint of your time or not? The people in the kids of 80s are different from 90s to we use the word what for the present generation? Gen Zs, है ना? So every person is a child of his time. So you need to understand the time which was there during the time of Plato. So by knowing the conditions which were prevailing, it will be very easy for you to understand what Plato is saying at that particular time, right? So this is the reason you need to know the time, the things which were there, what was the kind of economy during the time of Plato and Aristotle. Then we'll jump to so philosophy evolved where? In ancient Greece, ancient times. ठीक है ना? So philosophy evolved where? In ancient Greece. After ancient times came what? Medieval time. Okay. And medieval time is known as, what happened during the medieval times in Europe? Dark ages, age of religion. Philosophy lost its meaning and everything was determined by religion. Dominance of religion during the medieval times in Europe. Okay. So there was no new idea, no new invention. Everything was determined by church, religion. In this backdrop emerged what? Renaissance, revival. Revival of science, revival of scientific thinking. So Renaissance for Europe came around which time? 17th century. And who is known as the philosopher of Renaissance? Who is known as child of Renaissance? Machiavelli. So now you will understand, okay, Machiavelli becoming the child of Renaissance, right? So अब समझ में आ रही है बात? So Machiavelli becoming the child of Renaissance. You will see the emergence of scientific thinking in the writings of whom? Machiavelli. Okay. Then after Machiavelli came whom? Hobbes. And Hobbes, we associate modern times with which aspect? Modern time is known as age of science. Okay, where we try to establish things through inventions, through empirical discoveries. So Hobbes will try to say things scientifically. So which method Hobbes will use to give its theory? He will try to use empirical scientific methods to give his theory. So he will become the philosopher of modern times. So Plato will do what? Philosophy. You will see the emergence of scientific thinking in the work of Machiavelli, and you will see that Hobbes is trying to give his ideas scientifically. So the age of Renaissance for Europe came around 17th century. Now you can clearly see the replication of the things in India also. Ancient times, Indian political thought. Okay, even society was so vibrant and there was so much of acceptability of the text like Kama Sutra. Then came what? Medieval time, and medieval time became what? Age of religion, dark ages. Who brought us out of dark ages? The belief is what? Advent of British. So what is the age of Renaissance? If you are done with modern history, age of Renaissance for India is what? 19th century. So for us, awakening came 19th century with the advent of British. For Europe, awakening came around 17th century. That is why the saying goes, West is 200 years ahead than us. असमें जब आपने सुना भी होगा इन लूज टॉक्स भी से, अरे वेस्ट तो 100 साल आ गया, 200 साल, समझ आ रहा है किस सेंस में हम कह रहे हैं? बिकॉज फॉर वेस्ट awakening and Renaissance came around 17th century, and for us Renaissance and awakening came around 19th century. So ancient Indian philosophy and modern Indian philosophy. Okay, so ancient Indian political thought and modern Indian political thought, because medieval time is known as dark ages, age of religion. समझ गए बात? लिखो evolution of state in Europe. Right. First is city state. ऐसे बनाओ. Evolution of state in Europe. City state. 2. Roman Empire. Roman Empire. 2. Modern nation state. Modern nation state. And modern nation state emerged from the Treaty of Westphalia, signed when it was signed? Treaty of Westphalia, that is 1648. ठीक है ना? Treaty of Westphalia. Modern nation state. And then you can write age of supranationalism. Age of supranationalism. So, like UN is one of the supranational body. Okay, just write age of supranationalism. ठीक है ना, just keep it with you. From Treaty of Westphalia till Second World War is known as modern age, and from Second World War onward to the present time is known as post-modern age. What you have written, from Treaty of Westphalia till Second World War is known as modern age. So, in modern age, which concept of state was prevailing? Nation state. Okay. In post-modern age, which concept of state is prevailing? Supranational state. ठीक है, नहीं भी समझ आ रहा तो भी याद रख लो इस बात को, ठीक. So, from Treaty of Westphalia till Second World War, the concept of state which was prevailing was modern nation state. Okay. And from then onward to the present times is supranational state. And the concept of modern nation state evolved in the Treaty of Westphalia. ठीक. So, ancient Greece, during ancient time, which concept of state was prevailing? City state. So, in ancient Greece, what was there? There were city states, like Sparta was a city state. Athens was a city state. Plato was from Athens, and Athens got defeated from Sparta, which hurted whom? Plato. He wanted to know the reasons for the defeat of Athens, and then he realized why Athens got defeated from such a small city state, that is Sparta, because of the rulers, and rulers are corrupt. So his analysis was Athens. अब देखो इतना easy हो जाएगा आपके लिए समझना. So rulers were corrupt. This led to the downfall and the defeat of Athens. So if Athens has to become great, we need a ruler who should be the man of knowledge, and state should be governed by philosopher king, not by the rulers, not by the leaders who are corrupt, who are hungry for power. So we need to find a soul who should be a man of reason, not appetite. ठीक है ना. So state to be led by philosopher king, and this is the way out Plato suggested to make Athens great. So अब ध्यान से सुनना. So Plato zeroed on which factor which led to the defeat of Athens? What has led to the defeat of Athens? Corruption. So way back it was Plato who said that corruption is the root cause for the failure and the defeat of Athens. When rulers are corrupt, okay, when they will only think about themselves, in general it will lead to the downfall of the society. ठीक है. In the present times, which is the biggest threat for India? Who is the biggest threat for India? You said China. You can say Pakistan. You can say nuclear proliferation. You can say threat of a nuclear war. Those who have attended orientation, they know that as according to Ministry of Home Affairs, the biggest threat for India is left-wing extremism, Naxalism. Now, you cannot challenge this because it is being accepted by the government of India, and prime ministers are saying again and again the biggest threat for India is Naxalism. The root cause of Naxalism is inequalities, underdevelopment, which is the outcome of corruption. So what is the biggest threat for the state of India? Corruption, which was predicted way back by whom? Plato. So relevance of Plato even in the contemporary times. ठीक है ना. In so many rallies, PM said that the biggest threat for India is corruption and nepotism. So what is the biggest threat for India? Corruption. And who has done corruption? Bureaucrats. What you are preparing for? Bureaucracy. So who are bigger threat? Terrorists or bureaucrats? You don't have an answer? Sir, corrupt bureaucrats. I'll not be corrupt, but you don't have conviction to say this. ठीक है ना, इसलिए confuse हो गया. So who are threat? Corrupt bureaucrats, but not every bureaucrat is corrupt, and you need to have a conviction and show conviction. You will not do corruption. ठीक है? Right. Ancient Greece. Right. In ancient Greece, there were city states. There were city states. For example, Athens, Sparta. There were other also, you don't need to cram, okay? There were city states, for example, Athens, Sparta. And these city states were more of the geographical entities. They were more of geographical entities. And the concept of nation was not prevailing. Concept of nation was not prevailing. ठीक है ना? So they were just geographical entities. Next bullet point. People used to consider themselves as the citizen of Athens or Sparta. But not as Greek citizens. Citizens of Athens or Sparta, but not as Greek citizens. Third, it was an agrarian society. It was an agrarian society. And a system of slavery was prevailing. So you need to know the kind of system which was prevailing. And a system of slavery was prevailing. Now, who supported the institution of slavery? Those who are coming from PSIR background. Who supported the institution? Which philosopher supported the institution of slavery? क्या कॉलेज में कुछ पढ़ा नहीं क्या ढंग से? प्लूटो नहीं था, प्लेटो है पहले तो, और दूसरा प्लेटो तो नहीं, एरिस्टोटल हैज सपोर्टेड द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ स्लेवरी. ठीक है ना? सो एरिस्टोटल सपोर्टिंग द, इनफैक्ट एरिस्टोटल सेड दैट सोसाइटी देयर आर फ्यू, वी आर born masters, we are born slaves. And his theory became the justification for benevolent despotism. What it means, benevolent despotism? His theory became the justification by the British and the East India Company of what? Benevolent despot. We are despot means strong, assertive ruler, but we are benevolent. We are, if we are governing you and ruling you and we have colonized you, it is for your benefit, because you are barbarians and we are here to civilize you. We are on civilizing mission. So was British on civilizing mission? But they tried to project this thing that we are on civilizing mission. You are barbaric, and who is making you civilized? Us. And who has given us this work? God. White man is toiling hard in the tropical heat to bring civilization, light in the barbaric world. So they have taken this from whom? The work of Aristotle. So these works became, in future, the works of Aristotle became what? The justification for theories like benevolent despotism and white man's burden. नहीं, कल कहाँ सुना था? ठीक है ना? So he justified the That is why now his idea of justice was what? Slavery is good for the society. So any amount of good can be acceptable in the contemporary times, and there can be any point on which you can justify the institution of slavery, even if it is economic, even if it can lead to, let's say, you will come to know on what grounds Aristotle has tried to justify slavery. Even if it is advantageous for the economic production of the society, can you justify the institution of slavery on any ground in the present time? No. So his idea of justice is injustice in the present times or not? So the idea of justice has changed or not? Because no, we cannot justify the institution of slavery on any ground. Okay, na? That's how the ideas have changed in time and space. So it was agrarian society and a system of slavery was prevailing. Next point. It was a patriarchal society. Male dominated. It was a patriarchal society, and people used to believe that inequality is natural. So people used to believe what? Inequality is natural. So their belief was natural inequality. ठीक है ना? God has created two types of people, that is masters and slaves. You believe in natural inequality? God has created everyone equal. नहीं, God has created everyone equal. So if nature does not want to impart equality and we are aspiring for equality, don't you think we are going against nature? यही तो करना है क्लास में, आपका वर्ल्ड व्यू को वाइडर करना है, आपको सोचने को, यू नीड टू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग फ्रॉम वेरियस पर्सपेक्टिव एंड दिस डायमेंशंस यू नीड टू इनकलकेट इन योर आंसर्स लेटर. यही तो काम है इस सब्जेक्ट का. सो इज नेचर इज क्रिएटिंग एवरीवन इक्वल? Few are more intelligent than others or not? Okay, for sure, few are more intelligent, few take a lot of time to remember the same thing, it is not their fault. Few are more stronger than other or not? Yes. So we can see nature is not imparting equality, and if we humans are trying to impart equality, that is, equality is one of the important value in our subject, that we want liberty, equality, and if we are trying and aspiring for equality, we are not going against nature. ठीक है ना? Now see the state of North Korea. What is the way devised by the state of North Korea to deal with COVID? Anyone who has been infected with COVID, who is responsible for this infection? The leaders of the state or nature? Your immunity, nature is taking a call who should be infected or not. So nature is taking the call. So listen to nature. Whosoever be infected, just kill it, because nature wants them to be eliminated. So this is the way North Korea dealt with the epidemic COVID. But do you want state to deal with the people like this? No. ठीक है ना? So there are many leaders who becomes despot, and their belief is that we are going towards what? Ensuring natural inequality, because nature itself is not equal. Earlier in ancient Greece, in Sparta, those who used to born deformed, they used to be killed. Deformed babies were not accepted in the society. Why society should take a burden of deformation? Because if someone is being born deformed, who is responsible for this? Nature. So let's kill these people, and we need to have a society full of whom? Stronger one. ठीक है? हाँ, ये natural inequalities है. तो people in that time were of this belief that inequality is natural. ठीक है ना? You need to accept this. Inequality is natural. Next. Right, Greeks were ethnocentric people. Greeks were ethnocentric people. As Greeks used to consider themselves as ethnically superior. They used to consider themselves ethnically superior, and they used to call others as barbarians. They used to call others as barbarians. Next point likho. In ancient Greece, there was no central authority. Ancient Greece, there was no central authority. And it was extremely decentralized. It was extremely decentralized, as each city was state in itself. Each city was state in itself. Next, Greek scholars made no difference between politics and ethics. So they didn't separate politics from ethics. ठीक है ना? They made no difference between politics and ethics. Ethics is the things which you should, ethics is the values which tells us what is right and what is wrong. And they have not separated politics from ethics, means in general, while living your life, to live a good life, you need to do right and you should not do wrong. So the things which you are doing in general in your life, you should not do those things even in politics. ठीक है ना? So once you will know more about Plato and Aristotle, you will see the reflections of their ideas in the work of Gandhi. Means Gandhi well read the work of Plato and Aristotle or not, and Gandhi has borrowed various ideas from the work of Plato and Aristotle. So Gandhi well read the text of ancient Greek philosophers. So Gandhi also never separated politics from ethics. In fact, Gandhi said politics without ethics will be a death trap. पता ना ये बात? Politics without ethics will be a death trap. Okay. So you should do, even if you do politics, you need to bring some values into politics. ठीक है ना? So ethics without politics will be a death trap. ठीक है ना? This was said by Gandhi. So you will see the clear reflection of the ideas of Plato and Aristotle on Gandhi. अभी आगे आएगी ये बात. So Greek scholars made no difference between politics and ethics. And their worldview was not compartmentalized. That is, their worldview was not compartmentalized. Worldview was not compartmentalized. That is, they didn't separate the issue of best life didn't separated the issue of best life from best political life. Didn't separated the issue of best life from best political life. Means to live a best life, you need to live a best political life. ठीक है ना? And to live a best political life, you should follow what? Ethics in politics. So they didn't separated ethics from politics. Another point. Ancient Greek scholars believes in the philosophy of humanism. Believes in the philosophy of humanism. In bracket you can write humanism means so ध्यान सुनो, first listen. Those who believe in the philosophy of humanism, they will be more concerned about this life, or they will be more concerned about afterlife. Those who will believe in the philosophy of humanism, they will be more concerned about this life, present life, or they will be more concerned about afterlife. Suffer here to make sure you will have a best afterlife. So philosophy of humanism will believe in this? No. So those who will believe in the philosophy of humanism, their concern will be more about what? This life. It's not wrong if you are having a happy, prosperous, contained life here. And you should not be too concerned about what? Afterlife. Okay. So humanism philosophy revolves. Who is at the center of this philosophy? Human. Okay. So those who believe in the philosophy of human, their concern will be how to make the present life better. Okay. So in ancient Greek, during ancient Greek, which philosophy was dominating and prevailing? Philosophy of humanism. Okay. So concern was how to make the life of the individual better here. ठीक है ना? At that time the paintings, in the paintings and in other literary and artwork, it was revolving around what? Human depiction was there. ठीक है ना? How we can make human more better. So in the paintings, in the artwork, we can clearly see the depiction of human, which was overtaken during the medieval time by what? Religion. Even in paintings, artwork, everything was about whom? God and religion. And we see the revival of the philosophy of humanism during when? Renaissance. That is the modern age. And Renaissance in Europe emerged around 17th century. So Renaissance is associated with the revival of the philosophy of humanism. ठीक है? लिखो. Humanism means man is the measure of all things. Man is the measure of all things, and man is the center of universe. Man is the measure of all things, and man is the center of universe. So it is about man, not everything else. Just reread these points which you have written. बोलो बोलो. हाँ, we can equate. ठीक है. So these were the conditions which were prevailing during the ancient times, that concept of nation was not evolved, slavery was prevalent, people believe in natural inequality, philosophy of humanism was prevalent, and they never separated ethics from politics. Okay, that is, we need to do right in, if you have to do right in life, you should do right in politics also. ठीक. So major work in philosophy took place during which times? Ancient times. Okay. So philosophy is what? Love for knowledge. So they pursued knowledge. They were ready to put questions. They were ready to challenge the existing knowledge. All these things took place when? During ancient times. Because medieval time, philosophy, no, there was no new work on philosophy, because society was driven by religion. Church used to decide. Church fathers became supreme, and everything was decided and controlled by church. ठीक, लिखो medieval time. During medieval times, city states came to end. During ancient times, city states came to end, and Europe became confederation. Europe became confederation, known as Roman Empire. Europe became confederation known as Roman Empire. Full stop. Next bullet point. Since Roman Empire what is confederation? When so many small entities join together, it becomes confederation. So many small entities joined and it turned into Roman Empire. Because since Roman Empire became too big, it led to the emergence of hereditary rulers or lords. It led to the emergence of hereditary rulers or lords. Third, right, during these times, the struggle started between church and the authority of emperor. अब देखो, अगर आपने थोड़ा सा भी ग्रेजुएशन ढंग से ध्यान से पढ़ा है, so it will going to give you the clarity probably which was the confusion earlier in your mind. So during this time, what emerged was confusion. Confusion of what? Two swords. Confusion that where sovereignty lies. Who ended this confusion of two swords? Madhu. Who ended this confusion of two swords? And clearly established where sovereignty lies. And sovereignty became one of the important element of what? State. And state in the present times emerged from the Treaty of Westphalia, modern nation state. Now, Nandana, who ended this confusion of two swords? सब लोगों ने PSR पढ़ा है ना ग्रेजुएशन में? अब आप देख लो आपने कैसे पढ़ा. आपको ये आपका नहीं है पीएसआर बैकग्राउंड, फिर आप कैसे आंसर कर सकते हो? मधु दीक्षा, who ended this confusion of two swords by saying authority lies here, and this clearly establishes his credentials as a modern political philosopher. Hobbes, Hobbes, ठीक है, मॉडर्न टाइम्स में आ गया ना. एंड ही एंडेड द कंफ्यूजन ऑफ टू सॉर्ट्स बाय क्लियरली एस्टेब्लिशिंग हेयर सॉवरेनिटी लाइज. दिस इज व्हाई आई एम गिविंग यू. ये एग्जाम में नहीं आएगा जो आप लिख रहे हो. व्हाट यू आर राइटिंग विल नॉट कम इन एग्जाम. इट इज फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग सो दैट यू विल बी एबल टू रिलेट व्हेन वी डिस्कस फिलोसोफर्स. ठीक है, लिखो. ड्यूरिंग मिडिवल टाइम देयर वाज अ स्ट्रगल बिटवीन चर्च एंड द अथॉरिटी ऑफ एम्परर, एंड चर्च स्टार्टेड dominating church started dominating the all walks of life. Church started dominating the all walks of life. So the philosophy of humanism ended. ठीक है ना? Church started all walks of life. All walks of life. Everything was determined by whom? What to eat, how to sit, what to wear. Everything was decided by whom? Church. All walks of life. Hence, medieval time is also known as the age of darkness. Also known as the age of darkness, or the age of religion. Or the age of religion. Next bullet point. Right. During these time, philosophy was overshadowed. You were not allowed to pursue new knowledge. Anyone who challenged Bible faced what? Death threats. Who said it is not earth which is at the center of it is not sun which is revolving around earth, it is the earth and other planets who are revolving around sun, and gave heliocentric theory. So who has given this theory? Copernicus, and it was a clear challenge to the Bible and the church. So he faced what? Death threats. Okay? Likho, during these time, philosophy was overshadowed by religion. Philosophy was overshadowed by religion. Next, the economic system during medieval times turned to feudalism. It turned to feudalism. अरे क्लास में आता ना एक बार. लाइव नहीं है यूट्यूब पे.
नहीं, यूट्यूब पे लाइव पता नहीं हो नहीं पा रहा, इसलिए तो मैं दोबारा आया था.
जस्ट अ सेकंड. अब तो कोई फायदा नहीं, अब तो ठीक है. नहीं मैं वैसे हाँ छोड़ो, लिखो. सो इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम ड्यूरिंग medieval times turned to feudalism. Full stop. So during ancient time, which kind of economic system was prevalent? Slavery. In economic system, slavery was there. Okay. So during medieval time, it turned into feudalism. Modern times, which kind of economic system emerged? Capitalism. And problems with capitalism led to the emergence of socialism. ठीक है ना? लिखो full stop. Feudalism is a system which is hereditary. Feudalism is a system which is hereditary. I hope now you can have this clarity when we say feudal. Someone is feudal. Feudal means what? When we say na, in India, politically we are democracy, but our social system is still feudal. What is feudal? Love for power. Okay. We do not want to lose our grip on power, and we want to keep this power intact hereditarily. So if you see the villages in India, North India, even in the South India, what kind of economic system prevails? Feudal system. Okay. So feudal is the love for power, the system which is based on heredity. Okay. That power should remain intact in the hands of family. Okay. Likho. Which is hereditary. Full stop. The feudal lords became the owners of the land. Read the second bullet point. Roman Empire became too big that it led to the emergence of what? Hereditary rulers or lords. So on one hand there was emperor. Beneath emperor there were so many feudal lords. They were having their own army. Power tussle started between feudal lords, and tussle was going on between church and the emperor. Okay. Feudal lords became the owners of the land. Full stop. Under feudalism, there were two classes. Under feudalism, there emerged two classes. Which two classes emerged under the economic system of feudalism? Lords, who were the owners, and serfs, who were the workers. Lords and the serfs. Now, during ancient times, which were the two classes which were prevailing? Masters and the slaves. अब देखो आज आपको एक और बात पता चलेगी. So during ancient times, society was divided into two classes, masters and slaves. During medieval times, society was divided into two classes, that is, lords and the serfs. During modern times, with the emergence of capitalism, as it felt that now we will have equality, but emerged two classes, that is bourgeois and the proletariat class, elite and the capitalist class. Means at any point of time we were never able to end what? Classes. And who wanted to end classes, classless society? Marx. समझ गए बात? So at every point of time we can see society divided into classes, and this class division you can see even in the present times or not. And this is the elitist theory of power, that power will remain in the hands of selected few. This is the nature of power. And this is elitist theory of power. Power remain in the hands of elites. So we have never been able to end what? Class division. Whose objective was to end class division? Marx. In India, whose objective was to end caste division? Casteless society? Ambedkarites. Marxist scholars and Marxist leaders in India, they were anti-Gandhi. That Gandhi's work and Gandhi's ideas are in the interest of whom? Capitalist. Because Gandhi came up with the concept of trusteeship. So Gandhi was a supporter of private property. So as Gandhi was a supporter of private property, that is why Marxist scholars and leaders were anti-Gandhi. Ambedkarites were anti-Gandhi, and they said Gandhi is a leader and the scholar of upper caste. बात समझ में आ गई? Now in India, Ambedkar's objective was casteless. Ambedkar was not against private property. Marxist objective was classless. यार क्या कर रहा है? क्लास चल रही है. क्लियर हुआ है बात? सो मार्क्सिस्ट आर against class and Ambedkar's against caste. Now in India you can clearly see low caste in general are low class also. In general low caste are low class. This is the reason for the alignment between Marxist and Ambedkarites in India. Otherwise Marxist ideas and ideology is totally different from Ambedkarites. Ambedkar's objective was totally different, but in India low caste is low class. This is the reason for the alignment of Ambedkarites and Marxist, that is leftist. ठीक है ना? So the slogan of the Ambedkarites is Jai Bhim, and leftist are classless society, and their alignment you can see in India, because in India low caste are low class. ठीक, लिखो. Under feudalism there were two classes, lords and the serfs. Lords and the serfs, and this system was based on birth. So feudalism as a system is based on birth, hereditary, rather than worth. So who challenged feudalism? That we need a better kind of economic system? Capitalism. And the belief was capitalism as a system is based on worth, not on birth. What one is capable of will able to acquire that. But even under capitalism we started seeing power and money getting concentrated in the hands of selected few, and it led to the extreme exploitation of workers. So nothing changed even under capitalism, which led to the socialist movements against capitalism. ठीक, लिखो next bullet point. Right, the situation of serfs was like bonded laborers. Situation of serfs was like bonded laborers. And they had no freedom. And they had no freedom to choose. And they had no freedom to choose their lords. And they had no freedom to choose their lords, and they had to work in the field. छोटू ध्यान रखा कर जब क्लास चल रही है उसे बंद करके, और थोड़ा सा उधर ले जाके कर लेना, कट उसे बंद कर दे वहां से. And they had to work in the fields of a particular feudal lord. In the fields of a particular feudal lord. ठीक है ना? So it was based on birth, hereditary. So अब समझा, feudal system is based on birth, and then came what? Capitalist, who started demanding what? Freedom. Okay, they wanted that everyone should be free. So it seems as if capitalism will going to end this class inequalities, class division, and things people will get based on their worth. But with time it turned exploitative. How? You will come to know. ठीक है? Just a quick glance of what you have written. So what the medieval time was like this. हाँ जी.
So the first sentence.
First sentence what? बोलो क्या मिस हो गया?
सर ड्यूरिंग medieval times city states उसके बाद मैंने and before state constitution
City states came to an end.
and
Okay. Hmm. Age of darkness. Darkness or religion, yeah. Means everything was determined by religion and you were not in a position to challenge religion in that sense. Okay. So in the artwork, in the pictures, in the paintings of that time, if you see the paintings of the medieval time, you will see only about God, depiction of God. And God is an imaginary figure. And fathers used to create fear in the society based on the name of whom? God. It's sin, it's sin, it's sin. Okay. क्लियर? समझ आ रही हैं बातें? And more we'll discuss, more and more you will relate, more and more you will have clarity. Make a table. On one side write feudalism, on other side write capitalism. So capitalism as an economic system evolved around modern times. Feudalism as an economic system was prevailing around medieval times. But even in the present time, you can see that feudalism as an economic system is not over yet. Okay. Right, first point under feudalism. Within this, there was no concept of freedom. Within this, there was no concept of freedom. Within capitalism, there was concept of freedom. You are free to work wherever you want to. You are not served, you are not slave. Go and work wherever you want. But later Marx said, capitalism has turned all of us into slave of what? किसी ने सही से ग्रेजुएशन नहीं करी है. दीक्षा, प्रगति, मधु ऐसे बैठे हो बिल्कुल बस वन वे सुनने के लिए. ऐसा थोड़ा ना होती है क्लास. सर वी विल बी एबल टू इंटरेक्ट, विल एबल टू टॉक. अब किसी को कोई बात नहीं करनी है. Capitalism, in capitalism there is a concept of freedom we are saying. So it is on paper, in reality you are free to work wherever you want. This is the beauty of this is the beauty of capitalism. But what Marx said, capitalism has turned all of us into slave. Madhu, are you listening what I am saying?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Then
sir.
why
Some renovation
why you are not
is
sitting
going
with why you are not sitting with the webcam on?
Sir, actually, in my place, renovation is going on. That's why.
हाँ, so just complete it na, and sit with in the class. You know your classes you need to attend with the webcam on. Diksha, Pragati, what issues you have? Capitalism has turned us slave of what? Our needs. We all are madly running towards fulfilling our needs, and capitalism has generated artificial needs. Capitalism has converted society into what? A consumerist society. We have just become consumerist. Consumerism. Ism lag gaya na, to ideology ho gayi. So capitalism has led to the emergence of the ideology of consumerism. Capitalism has turned society into a consumerist society. Which society is a consumerist society? Is consumption is wrong? नहीं है consumption wrong. Then why we are saying consumerism? Why we consider take consumerism in bad light? Over नहीं, irrational word use करो. Irrational consumption is wrong. You do not, no one will die without upgrading their iPhone. Okay, you are sitting, you are ready to stand in queue for hours for the new version of iPhone. You are standing in the queue as if you are going to get it free. You are ready to pay for that also. This is mad race and this is consumerism. And capitalism has turned us irrational consumerist. And this is how capitalism has turned all of us into slave of our needs. So this concept of freedom which is prevailing under capitalism, is it real freedom or it is just a notion of being free? Notion of being free. ठीक है ना, आप free हो नहीं, आपको लग रहा है आप free हो. And the word which Marx uses, false consciousness. That you all are under false consciousness of being free. Reality, you are not free. You have become slave, and you are slave of what? Your needs. So according to Marx, you cannot be free till the time we will not going to end capitalism. Okay, we need to destroy capitalism to become free. So for Marx, what is freedom? Destruction of capitalism and freedom from your needs. ठीक है, लिखो. No concept of freedom, capitalism. There is a concept of freedom. At least there is a feeling of freedom. Okay, under capitalism. Second, in feudalism, there will be bonded laborers. In feudalism, there will be bonded laborers. In capitalism, there will be wage laborers. So you will work for wages. Here you are bonded to the land. ठीक है? Third, feudalism is based on birth. जहाँ पैदा हो गए, जिधर पैदा हो गए. It is based on birth. While capitalism is based on worth. Was based on worth. ठीक है? Now I just said that the problems with capitalism and the capitalist society, that it is turning us into slaves of needs, and as said by Marx, need is to destroy capitalism because capitalism has pushed consumerism in the society. These are the ills or the problems of capitalism, right? Problem on the extreme exploitation of the workers in modern time. Capitalism is a modern time ideology, and socialism is also a modern time ideology, because problems with capitalism led to the emergence of left movements, okay, which led to the emergence of socialism. Okay. Now around Second World War, freedom movements were going on in third world countries, right? And these freedom movements were going on against imperialism, colonialism. कल आपको पता चल गया ये बात. You know the difference now. So these freedom movements were going on against imperialism. What was the root cause of imperialism? What pushed these countries to come and colonize these territories? Resources. Okay, resources, cheap labor, and raw material and resources. So the root cause, because capitalism is based on greed and profit, right? Because capitalists tried to maximize more and more profit. So the root cause of imperialism was capitalism, right? And in third world countries, the freedom movements were led by the leaders, and they were more inclined towards the ideology of socialism. So there was a rise of socialist leaders world over. In India also you can see the emergence of socialist leaders. Even Nehru was socialist in its approach. Revolutionaries were socialist in their approach. Hindustan Republican Association to Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. Socialism socialism is based on state control economy. No private property. Factors of production will be controlled by the state. And the belief was if state will control the economy, it will lead to equality and state will work for the benefit of the downtrodden. Okay. If state will control economy, money and wealth will not be concentrated in the hands of selected few. And Cold War is seen as a war of ideology. And Cold War is seen as a ideological clash between capitalism versus socialism. Right? US and West stood for capitalism. And capitalism gives you what? Economic liberty to do what you want to do. While under socialism, it's a state control economy. State will decide what you need to state will decide what to produce, how much to produce. Everything will be controlled by state. So it's a state control economy. So West projected under socialism there is no economic freedom and capitalism gives you economic freedom. Thick. So that is why they projected we are free world, because here people are free to do what they want to do. You can't do the same under a socialist economy, right? But at that time there was too much of attraction towards socialism during the time of Second World War, and most of the leaders were socialist in their approach, as I said, and their belief was if state will control economy, it will end exploitation, okay, it will reduce inequalities and wealth will not be concentrated in the hands of any and the selected few. But 1991 USSR disintegrated, and disintegration of Soviet is seen as the failure of socialism. Okay. It is also in our syllabus. If you read the syllabus, that is end of ideology. If you read the chapter of ideology, you will find a topic called end of ideology. Okay. And end of ideology is itself a very important topic for our mains. Okay. That liberalism, capitalism has won the war of ideology. सब कुछ आएगा भी. We'll discuss in detail. हाँ जी. अभी वो मैं नहीं बता रहा. This what is the difference between socialism and communism, that I'll tell you when we'll discuss Marx. Everything I can't tell you immediately. ठीक है ना? अभी आप सोचो socialism is state controlled economy. हम यहाँ कुछ और discussion कर रहे हैं अभी. ठीक है? Now the question is, when there was so much of hope and so much of this hope that socialism will be a better economic system and it will end exploitation and reduce inequalities, what do you think could be the reason which led to the failure of socialism? Why state controlled economies started failing, and at present you can see most of the economies are capitalist economies. There are problems with capitalism, we are not denying this. But in the end, if you see, at present most of the economies are capitalist economy. After independence till 91, before we liberalize our economy under LPG reforms, India was pursuing which kind of economic policy? Import substitution policy. Import substitution means we'll produce on our own. A state controlled economy. There were, I guess, 18 sectors in which private investment was not allowed. There were so many sectors in which license was required. Government will decide, will give you license whether you can produce this or not. At present, how many sectors, in how many sectors private investment is not allowed? At present I am talking about 2, atomic energy and railways. Even you can produce defense goods for the need of the state, but for this you need a license, and there are only 5 sectors for which you need license, like liquor, like chemicals, like defense goods, and 2 sectors in which private investment is not allowed is these. And that is why time before 91 is known as license Raj, red tapeism. Okay? So our economy was tilted more towards socialist principle, that is the state controlled economy. And our economy got hit by a crisis in 90s, the way Soviet disintegrated in 90s. And then we realized, no, we need to give more role, we need to increase the role of private sector in our economic system. If you are done with economy, might be you would have read about an act called MRTP Act, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. Monopolies and restrictive trade practices means under this act it was decided no one industry, no one producer can produce more than this. If you are producing 3 things, you cannot produce other things, because if you will start producing everything, you can have a complete control over economy. If you are producing 3, let any other manufacturer produce something else. So state will support someone else to become the manufacturer. So this act was there, MRTP, Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices. This was abolished in 91, and now you can clearly see Reliance Tata from corporate, they have turned to conglomerate. In every sector, you can see the presence of Reliance and Tata. How much diversification they have done. Now, what was the problem with MRTP was, it was not allowing them to enter into other sectors. So those who has the capability to do so, state was restricting them, and others were not ready to work this hard, and this impacted the economy of the state, and population was rising. So the socialist credentials which were there in our economic system, that impacted the economy of India too. So we also tilted towards capitalism. What is the thing which has led to the failure of socialist economies world over? बोलो. नहीं, मोनोपोली तो सोशलिज्म में कैसे हो जाएगी? हाँ जी. What led to the failure of socialism? We say crony capitalism. Corruption takes place in the capitalist economy, where private players gives money into the hands of the government sector. ठीक है. Make this note, okay? What led to the failure of socialism? And this discussion will help you to understand why capitalism. What is the positive of capitalism? Okay. Why capitalism has survived, right? And the problems of who has talked a lot about the problems of capitalism? Marx. So today we will discuss why capitalism has survived, what led to the failure of socialism. And when we discuss socialism and Marxism, there you will see the problems with capitalism, but in the end everything comes with pros and cons. And despite problems with capitalism, capitalism is the way forward, because capitalism ensures growth. ठीक है? India is aspiring to become a $5 trillion economy. How we can become a $5 trillion economy? How will become 5 trillion economy? Through socialist policies, because socialism has failed way back. So in India, CPIM, Maoist, Naxals, they are so if they want to convert India into a socialist state, they are fighting for an outdated ideology or not? Yes, which has failed way back. This is what we are saying. So by following the ideology of Naxals, if CPIM, that is Maoist, there are 2 CPIMs. One is Marxist, one is Maoist. Which one is seen as a terrorist outfit? Maoist. Marxist is a left party who believes in constitutional means to acquire power. It contests elections. Okay. So Maoist wants to convert India into a socialist state. Will be able to become a superpower and a $5 trillion economy with socialist policies of Maoist? No. So don't you think they are fighting for outdated ideology? Yes, because socialism has failed way back. Okay? So why capitalism succeeded over socialism, or what led to the failure of socialism? You will have clarity from this discussion. Okay? लिखो every, ये just note बना लो, every economy be it US, be it Pakistan, be it India, be it China, every economy has 4 sectors: production sector, government sector, market and household. ये तो इतना तो इकोनॉमी में पढ़ चुके, दिस मच माइट बी यू हैव स्टडीड इन इकोनॉमी और नॉट. सो गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर, प्रोडक्शन सेक्टर, मार्केट एंड हाउस होल्ड. ठीक. गवर्नमेंट कैन बी सेंटर, स्टेट एंड थर्ड ईयर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. ओके, it can be unitarily federal or whatever the kind of system can be there within the government. That's a different thing. Now if government control forces of, who will generate demand? Household. Who will supply? Production sector. Demand and supply. If market forces will govern this demand and supply, it's a capitalist economy. If state will control demand and supply, it will be a socialist economy. ठीक है. So state controlled economy means state controlling demand and supply. Market governing demand and supply is capitalist economy. ठीक. Production can, within production we can primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Now government is one of the biggest consumer. Government procure things. Let's say primary sector agriculture, government procure a lot of food grains or not? Yes, so government is a producer, government is a consumer, government can be producer also, DRDO. So government can be producer, government can be consumer also. Now, even if it is a pure capitalist economy, which is being driven on the basis of demand and supply, still we need government or not? Yes, to ensure law and order. Because without law and order, economy will not work. So even if it is a pure capitalist economy, we still need a state. So state has its role. Even in the Western countries where we have a capitalist economy, state is not interfering in economy, but state needs to ensure law and order. State needs to frame foreign policy. State needs to protect integrity and sovereignty. State also needs to protect weak consumers. How state protect weak consumers in the economy? Through public distribution system, PDS. State also need to protect weak producers. How state protect weak producers? Subsidies, tax incentives. Okay, this is the role of the state. So these are the 4 components of the economic system: money market, capital market. So these are 4 components of any economy. If you allow FDIs and FIIs, it becomes the part of world economy, globalized economy. Otherwise it's a closed economy, closed economic system. Integrating it with the rest of the world means opening your economy and integrating your economy with a global economy. The way we did under the new economic policy, that is through LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So what we did through LPG reforms, integration of our economy with world economy. ठीक? There can be private players, there can be domestic private players, and there can be international private players. Allowing FDI means what? Allowing international private players to come into the Indian market. So only privatization does not mean allowing international players. Privatization can be for whom? Domestic players. Allowing FDI means allowing international private players within the economic system. ठीक. Now, लिखो there are 4 factors of production. What are the 4 factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and 4th factor is entrepreneurship. These are the 4 factors of production. Four factors of production within the economic system: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. So when state control these 4 factors of production, it becomes a socialist economy. When state is not controlling this and private player is utilizing these factors of production, it becomes capitalist economy. Okay. Most of the economies at the present times are mixed economy, where you can see the role of both state and private players. ठीक. What is land? लिखो what is land. लिखो capability found in natural resources is land. Capability found in natural resources is land. What you have written, capability found in natural resources is land, means coal is not land until unless we are not using coal to generate energy. When we start using coal for its calorific value, it turns into land. River becomes land if we use river for its kinetic energy or use river for agriculture. Then river becomes land. Zameen land nahi hai, its fertility is land. So what is land? Capability found in natural resources. In economic terms, India is a land rich country? Yes. Japan is a land deficit economy? Yes. ठीक है ना? So what is land? Capability found in natural resources. लिखो what is labor? लिखो physical capabilities found in human resource. Physical capabilities found in human resource within the economic system. Capability found in the human resource within the economic system is labor. Okay. Physical capabilities is labor. Can we say India is a labor rich or labor intensive economy? We are a labor intensive economy? Yes. Physical capabilities found in the human resource. We have huge human resource? Yes. ठीक है. Third, लिखो capital. What is capital? लिखो capabilities found. वहाँ था natural capability. Okay, यहाँ पे लिखो capabilities found in man-made resources is capital. Capabilities found in man-made resources, capital. And there are 3 types of capital: physical capital, financial capital, and intellectual capital. Physical, financial, and intellectual. So what you have written, what is capital? Capability found in man-made resource. ठीक है ना? Physical capital. Machines comes under the category of physical capital. Who has devised and who has constructed and created machines? Man. So machines within the economy becomes the part of physical capital. अभी मैंने आपसे यहाँ पूछा नहीं था, यहाँ क्या लिखा था? Land. Reread what is the definition of land? Capability found in natural resource. Now, if I would have asked, is it possible to increase land within the economic system? Can we increase land? Can we increase land? Can we increase it? Can we have more coal within India? If we have some better technology to extract probably in future, so वो क्या आएगा? Capital आ जाएगा. उसके लिए आपको better technology चाहिए. Can we increase land? No, land is a static asset. We can increase land by acquiring Nepal, by acquiring Bhutan. That becomes imperialism, and that's what West did. So when they colonized third world countries, they were trying to increase what? Land. This is basically what did they increase land. They were land deficit, they increased land because land is a fixed asset. Since the end of Second World War, as territorial boundaries are by and large fixed, land has become what? Fixed asset in the economic system. You cannot increase land. What is land? Capability found in natural resources. But can we, if we able to interlink the rivers with each other, will able to increase our irrigation potential through rainwater harvesting, will better able to utilize our land? Yes, so better utilization is possible through what? Physical capital. समझ गए? Right? What is financial capital? Money is financial capital. ठीक है? So let's say if you see one country where there is a use of big machinery, you can conclude that this country has a better physical capital, and with the help of this physical capital, they will be effectively utilizing their land and labor. Labor क्या था? Physical capability found in human resource. Now, what is the capability of a human to work? A human can, in general, human can work average for how many hours? Let's say 10 hours. If they have to lift the weight, how much weight they can lift through bare hand? 60-70 kg. But with the help of machinery, we can improve their efficiency or not. So you can improve the labor, quality of labor with the help of physical capital. ठीक है? Third is intellectual capital. Right. Intellectual capital is the capability found in ideas is intellectual capital. Capability found in ideas is intellectual capital. There are three types of ideas: business idea, literary idea, scientific idea. Business idea, scientific idea, literary idea. So three types of ideas we can generate. All these ideas comes under the category of what? Intellectual capital. Man-made resource है ये, है ना? Ownership right over business ideas are trademark. Ownership right over literary ideas are copyright. And ownership right over scientific ideas are patents. So ownership rights over these three are known as trademark, copyright and patent. Together they are called as IPR, intellectual property rights. ठीक है? Together these three rights are called as intellectual property right. Now ध्यान से सुनो, economy who will generate more IPR will able to generate more financial capital or not? Economy who will generate more IPR, intellectual property, will be able to generate more financial capital or not? In the present times, which capital has become most important? Intellectual capital. So earlier we used to differentiate haves and have-nots on the basis of financial capital. Now we differentiate on the basis of intellectual capital. What West is doing better than rest is production of more intellectual capital. Recently PM Modi said, we are not as miser like you. Okay, exactly he has not used these words, but he said that we have a big heart. He said this thing in UN. India do not put patents on everything. Many things we offer for free. It's not like West that before giving us anything for the betterment of humanity, you need to give this thing into consideration, that whether you are giving this thing for the betterment of humanity or what. So if we are using your technology for fetching and minting money, then you charge money from us. But if we are using that technology for the betterment of humanity, you need to be more generous in giving us greener and better technologies. Anyways, this becomes what? Intellectual capital. So which capital has become most important in the present time? Intellectual capital. Now comes the fourth factor of production, that is entrepreneurship. So, who is entrepreneur and what is entrepreneurship? Who take risk to generate money. Gambler, not entrepreneur. ये तो गैम्बलिंग हो गई, taking risk to generate money. Let's gambling. Huh? What is the difference between a gambler and an entrepreneur? One who generates employment.
So an entrepreneur tries to bring change in an existing system.
First thing, entrepreneur will be one who will going to optimally utilize these three factors of production. So who will going to optimally utilize these three factors of production? Entrepreneur. Likho, what is entrepreneurship? Ability to generate new ideas in the economic system. Ability to generate new ideas is entrepreneurship. Ability to generate new ideas is entrepreneurship. So who will bring new ideas in the economic system? Entrepreneurs. And what is most important for the economic system? Ideas. Okay. So out of these four factors of production, which becomes the most important and vibrant and the dynamic factor of production? Entrepreneurship. And socialism suppress entrepreneurship because everything will be decided by the state. So what led to the failure of socialism? Suppression of entrepreneurship, and capitalism promotes entrepreneurship. समझ गए बात? So if India wants to become a $5 trillion economy, what is the way forward? Promotion of entrepreneurship, which you can clearly see through the schemes of the government like Make in India, Skill India. So what government is trying to do? Promotion of entrepreneurship. So who will make India superpower? Entrepreneur. What you are preparing for? And what bureaucrats has done? Corruption. And what is the biggest threat? Corruption. Why you are not why you are not trying to become entrepreneur and preparing for bureaucracy? When you think that you want to be the part of the growth, might be this answer you might have prepared. Why you want to join civil services? I want to be a part of the growth of India and want to make India the bigger power and the player in world affairs. Will you make India the bigger power or player, or you will put hindrances in development by doing corruption and meddling with the government resources? Because who will generate employment and will help India to become superpower by making India the $5 trillion economy? Entrepreneurs. So whose work and role is more important for the country? One who is giving job to 4 people, or a bureaucrat or a DM? You start some venture of your own and give jobs to them. कैसे justify करोगे? Entrepreneurship is generation of new ideas, but you were not able to think in these lines. it is not only about economic ideas. When I said that we need only economic ideas, we don't need bureaucratic new ideas. Gandhi was a political entrepreneur. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a social entrepreneur. We need political, economic, social and bureaucratic entrepreneurs. So in bureaucracy, you will bring what? Entrepreneurship. So do not aspire only to become a bureaucrat. Aspire to become what? Bureaucratic entrepreneur. Whatever you do, try to bring something new in that. Samjhe? So do not be corrupt and try to become what? Bureaucratic entrepreneur. So what led to the failure of socialism? Suppression of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is the most dynamic factor of production. Out of 4 factors of production, which one is the most dynamic factor? Entrepreneur. Rest are the static factor, and if you will suppress the most dynamic factor, it will lead to the failure of the economic system. This led to the failure of socialism, and capitalism as an ideology promotes entrepreneurship. Okay? What are the problems with capitalism? All these things will come when we discuss in detail about Marx. Okay? For the time being, the overview, the reason for the failure of socialism, for the disintegration of Soviet. Okay, Soviet disintegrated because Soviet leadership took away the incentive from the people to work hard. Let's say a farmer producing 10 quintal, another producing 5 quintal, another producing 3 quintal. Which one is the most having the same resources and the asset? From the same piece of land, person is producing 10. For sure, this person is more entrepreneurial or not, more hardworking or not. And you are procuring 18 quintal and distributing 6 in the hands of all. So what you are taking away? Incentive from this person to work hard. Now he will also produce 2, and overall economy will collapse. So socialism took away the incentives from the people to work hard. ठीक है ना? ठीक है ना? If you see the western part of India, or the western region of India, Pakistan, because it was a united subcontinent during the time of the British, this region is dominated by this, who is living in this region? Punjabis. Okay, Punjabi culture, way of life, ethnicity. And what one thing we associate with Punjabis and Punjabi culture? Huh? What one thing we associate with Punjabis and Punjabi culture? Huh? Huh, bol. Money, mean they have lot of money. No, they are party freak. They do lot of parties. They are spendthrift. Okay. Which community in India is seen as? Food, drink, party, they enjoy. Okay. Which community in India we consider it as a business community who know how to do savings? Gujaratis. They know how to do savings. Okay. Anyways, and the saying goes in this part that khaya piya apna, baki sab abdali ka. Whatever has been consumed belongs to us. Rest all belongs to whom? Abdalis. So I was about to ask, it's a perception about the Punjabis, or it is the reality of the Punjabis that Punjabis are like this? So how come Punjabis became spendthrift? This is the story behind this. And that is why the saying goes in this part, that khaya piya apna, baki sab abdali ka, means whatever has been consumed belong to us. Rest all belongs to whom? Ahmad Shah Abdali. Abdali attacked thrice, came from Afghan and plundered the wealth of the region. Now people were not in a position to fight with him. They realized it's better not to save. We will not save anything, we'll consume everything. And if we'll consume everything, it will cut down the incentive away from Abdali to attack this part of the world, because there will be nothing left in the region for him to take back. So let's consume, and that's how consumerist culture evolved within the people of this region. Okay, so if you take incentives away from the people, they will not work hard. For what? Because in the end, state will take everything and then they will distribute equally. So if state will go for assertion of equality, it can have its own problems. Okay, states' objective should be to ensure equality of opportunity. Everyone should be given same resources, should provide irrigation facilities, should provide fertilizers, but state should not aspire for equality of outcome, because if state will aspire for equality of outcome, it will take away the incentive from the entrepreneurial people to work hard, and this led to the failure of socialism, because socialists aspire for equality of outcome and capitalists aspire for equality of opportunity. समझ में आई बात? We'll continue from here. I'll take forward the discussion from this point on Monday. ठीक है ना? Try to revise what all we have discussed in these 3 classes. Start reading your chapter from the book GABA, and on Monday I'll give you the PDF of the another book, that is Western Political Thought, and start reading that book from the 2nd chapter. I'll keep telling you with the lectures which chapter to refer when. ठीक है? We'll take your doubts on Monday. Bye. Take care.
Sir, now the book you shared, we are supposed to start from chapter 5.
Yes, chapter 5.
Thank you so much.
Okay.